Well, hello and welcome. And today we're talking about quite a very sensitive subject. When I say sensitive, then we're talking about elections. And anytime it's elections, as I say, all emotions are on high alert. We're going to be looking at two aspects: electronic transmission of election figures, and also the extension for our registration to see what's the info on the ground. Do we indeed need the extension? Is it working? Are you getting out of your house to go and check? And the electronic transmission, do you trust it? If they hit the 7 from Edumasa, by the time it gets to Accra, would it be 17 or would it still be 7? We all have to inquire about all these things. And with me in the studio is the EC's Deputy Communications Director, so he will speak on the EC. And then I have a campaign team member from the NPP. I'll introduce them properly, because the NPP, as soon as the EC cough, they say, look, hold on, I don't trust it. And so now that they've extended the time, we want to find out the party's position. Are they happy? And with regards to this electronic transmission, what are we going to go about? My name is Nansakwa, the 4th Chief of Edumasa, and also your host. Before I come back, watch a little inserts on interviews to get the conversation going. And when I come back, I will properly introduce my guest. Done.
I think that for 7 days more for re-registration to afford those who had practical difficulty in getting to the stations to register. There were some people who may even be outside the country at that time who couldn't register.
Are you happy with the latest?
Well, I think it's an opportunity, so we should take it up. The other way, apart from the collation center transmission, has to be discussed so that we know the implementation challenges, so that we ourselves as a political party can also put up structures and procedures in order to monitor the process, because you are talking about transmission of results. We must know the encryption around it. We must know the protocols around it. We must know the channel through which it is being transmitted. From what they are saying, will they transmit it simultaneously as it is going to the constituency and to National Collation Center? What is it about? It is even after this prompting that we are being told that it will still remain as provisional results.
I think last week I heard the MPP demanding re-registration of all the affected persons. The question is, if all the affected persons are to register, then where was the bloating in the first place which MPP complained about? 3, existence of names of foreigners on the voters register. The running mate of the MPP, Dr. Bawumia, together with their campaign manager, Mr. Peter McMenu, misled the whole Ghana and the international community into believing that Ghana's biometric voters register was bloated with close to 1 million names of Togolese, Ivorians, and Burkinabes. Indeed, the MPP flag bearer himself also repeated the false claim that there are over 1 million foreigners on the voters register and that Ghana's register has become an ECOWAS register. They backed their claims with the display of images on televisions in Ghana of persons found on the Togolese register and sponsored persons who claimed to be opposition leaders in Togo to collaborate their fabricated stories. Ladies and gentlemen, the exhibition of the Ghana register, which is to give opportunity for any such names to be deleted, has been ongoing for over 2 weeks now. And we are yet to see the MPP providing the list of the said names for deletion through due process. Perhaps the most shocking attitude of the MPP is their latest decision to kick against the electronic transmission of the results of the presidential elections. I I read the Electoral Commission statement tracing the decisions to transmit the results to the report of the Electoral Reforms Committee, which was signed by the MPP. That, in my view, is not enough, ladies and gentlemen. What the Electoral Commission did not disclose to the nation is the fact that the whole idea of the e-transmission of results was a proposal from none other than the New Patriotic Party, which was exhaustively debated and accepted by the committee before approval by IPAC and finally accepted by the Electoral Commission. In a document titled Towards Reforming Ghana's Future Elections, submitted to the EC under a cover letter with a heading, quote, New Patriotic Party Reform Proposals, unquote, signed by the then National Chairman, Jake Otanka Obechebi Lamte. I don't know whether it's of blessed memory or not. An address to the Chairman of the Electoral Commission. The MPP proposed at page 10, paragraph 6, as follows. Quote, the Commission may adopt the use of satellite transmission of results to the National Tallying Center pending the receipt of pink sheets from the regions. This is MPP speaking. In this regard, the EC should consider procuring handheld scanners to scan and send all pink sheets to Accra before collation and receipt of hard copies. The handheld scanners have been budgeted for. Government has been forced to provide the money. And now, is it not surprising that the MPP is kicking against the same e-transmission and blaming its introduction on Electoral Commission without notice or involvement of other political parties? In the same document, the MPP states in paragraph 1.2 sub 1, page 5, that the party recommends that, quote, the party recommends that IPAC, the decisions at IPAC ought to form part of the body of constitutional instruments which will govern the conduct of elections in this country. The IPAC decisions they have consistently been kicking against. In their reform proposal, they indicated that those decisions should form part of the laws for the running of elections in this country. Yet MPP has now gained notoriety for kicking against decisions of IPAC which they were part of. In conclusion, ladies and gentlemen, we wish to tell the MPP in plain language that they should let their yes be yes and no be no, in order to save the little remaining integrity left in that disorganized and disintegrated party. They should also know that discerning Ghanaians are getting impatient with their double standards.
Before I respond to that, I'd like to school Effiong Ketia on electoral reforms and electoral cycle and how efficient electoral management bodies organize themselves. A New Patriotic Party called for having handheld scanners to scan results at collation centers at constituency and have them electronically sent to the National Collation Center. That is completely different from the advert put up in the Daily Graphic of February, I guess, by the Electoral Commission soliciting companies to bid on electronic transmission of results. It's completely different. But Effiong Ketia is saying they have budgeted for and bought handheld scanners for the activity. So why are they making an advert inviting companies to bid and supply electronic transmission system to the EC if they have already bought and paid for the handheld scanners, which is what we recommended. So it's two different things, two different ball games. To get a handheld scanner by your own staff, I mean, they can be temporary staff, presiding officers, or returning officers at the collation center. It's different from advertising for a company to bid for the transmission electronically of all results from 29,000 polling stations to the Electoral Commission headquarters in Accra, as was put in the daily graphic. That's different. So are we not allowed to ask questions when different things arise because you want to crowd it under IPAC issues that you have agreed at IPAC? That's different. And even the handheld scanners he's talking about, it came under a broad headline of National Coalition Center. That is what we were demanding, that the usual strong room concept, which is very small, media people are not allowed, the public do not see what goes on, should give way to a more public, open, and transparent system of transmitting results. That's what we call for. So if you go to the Electoral Commission's website, what is there is the National Coalition Center. The 27 reforms they have listed there do not include anything on providing handheld scanners because it's not a major item. It came under the banner of the National Coalition Center.
All right. And so today you were at the IPAC meeting. Were these distinctions raised, sir?
About was agency meeting, so only two items were discussed.
Okay.
These are continuous voter registration
and the extension
for the deleted National Health Insurance Registrar.
Okay, so what opportunity will you have to seek to get clarity from the EC about what they are procuring, whether it's actually the handheld scanners, which maybe they already have, or a company to come and do this electronic transmission?
I got the opportunity at one of the IPAC meetings, and I asked this very question for the details of what the advert seeks to do. And they told me, we will write to you. Ever since, I haven't had any letter. Apart from that, I had a second opportunity when the Parliamentary Committee on Subsidiary Legislation was meeting in crafting a new law for the upcoming election. I saw that in the law, there was nothing covering electronic transmission of results, which had been advertised. So I also took that opportunity to ask them that, hey, you are drafting new laws for the upcoming elections, but I don't see anything in the law covering electronic transmission of results, which you have already advertised in the daily graphic. I didn't get any response. So I decided to go public, and for me, going public has yielded very positive results.
What is the result? Because for now, the NDC says you are not
the case. They can now decide who is telling the truth or not. They can decide which is the better way, either the handheld scanner, which was agreed on, or the new thing nobody knows about but advertised in the daily graphic. And now they also have the opportunity to contribute to the debate. That is the good thing about constitutional government.
All right.
You allow people the opportunity to take part in a debate concerning elections. So I'm happy that I've taken that initiative and it's yielding good results. That's why Segun Ketia is speaking, and that's why the Electoral Commission is speaking. Otherwise, these were hidden under the tables. But in elections, everything is supposed to be open, transparent, and inclusive.
All right. Now, sir, you were talking. I raised you raised an issue earlier about electoral reforms and the like. Mr. Segun Ketia says the party is not your party is not one of its word. You propose these reforms, yet you come and criticize, or you totally backtrack on the decision. The example he gave was about the November 7th date. If this was about transition, as we were made to understand, then the party should have backed it in Parliament nonetheless, as you agreed at these various meetings and appended your signature to the communique.
Thank you very much, Jifa. Democracy and elections is a journey. A journey that in UK, for example, started in 1872 with the passing of the Secret Ballot Act. You can Google and find it. Ever since, there have been various amendments and new laws on democracy and elections in the UK. We are saying that we should not be rushing into making election laws in 4, 5, 3 months to election. That is very bad practice. So, like I said, Gachai rightly said, we sent our recommendations for the date to be changed way back in 2014, 2.5 years now.
Everyone knows.
Well, so at least you have an idea what we are talking about today, and we've heard from all the stakeholders the issue on the table. Sat next to me is Mr. Yusuf Al-Hassan Ayuba, who's EC's Deputy Communications Director. You're welcome, sir.
Thank you.
And then I have Richard Asante Yeboah, member of the NPP communication team, also in the house. My brother, you're welcome.
Thank you very much. No.
So let me start with the EC. You've given an extension today with regards to people coming in to register. My question is double-barreled. What was the response in the first registry, and how much more will this extension do?
Thank you, Nana. We informed Ghanaians and our major stakeholders, the political parties, that we were going to start the registration of those whose names appeared on or those who used the NHIS cards to register in 2012. We gave them 11 days to go and re-register. We made it clear. We told the political parties exactly where the exercise was going to take place. We gave them the time, and the exercise began on the 18th and ended on the 28th of July. So we came out to tell the general public that we had ended the exercise. As at the time we ended the exercise, we had registered well over 24,000. I'm not very sure of the figure. A little bit over 24,000 persons had gone back to re-register. So we ended the exercise on the 28th, realizing some of the complaints and the concerns that people have raised about their inability to get themselves re-registered. The Commission considered those proposals. We looked into it, and the Commission decided that we would extend the period of re-registration from the 5th to the 12th of August 2016. So, and it is a collective decision that we normally take. We don't do things in isolation. We needed to go back to IPAC to inform them that we've decided to extend the period so that they will be part of the process. That is why we called an emergency IPAC meeting today to inform them on the decision that the Commission has taken, and the political parties, bought into the idea. They were grateful for the opportunity given to those who could not genuinely get themselves registered during the last window that we gave.
Have you got a budget for it?
It's not an issue of the budget. The Commission is there to make sure that any Ghanaian who is qualified to be registered as a voter is given that opportunity to do so. It is our duty to make sure that all persons who are supposed to register but could not do that for genuine reasons that some of them gave, we must make sure that we give them that opportunity to re-register.
After the 12th of August, a bunch of people say, well, I was sick, I was in hospital, I was in Tamale, I didn't get time off. Are we going to get another extension, or this is the last of the last extensions?
The exercise would end on the 12th. In addition to this decision that was taken today, we also have the decision of the technical committee that looked into the modalities for continuous registration. Mm-hmm. So continuous registration would be coming up. We'll start the first continuous registration on the 19th, and we'll do the second one on the 26th of August. So all persons who, by one way or the other, may not be able to go and register between the 5th and the 12th can also take the opportunity of this window of continuous registration to get themselves registered. Yes, 19th and the 26th of August 2016.
How does that become continuous? That's just 2 days. I thought continuous would be Monday to Friday.
That is what the general public think, but in consultation with the political parties, the commission has agreed that the continuous registration would be done every Friday. So in a week, would pick Friday and do the continuous registration. So anybody who wants to do continuous registration would take the opportunity on the Friday of every week and go to the Electoral Commission offices across the country to do the continuous registration. This is meant for persons who are 18 years now and persons who may be 19 during the last registration could not get the opportunity to register, and also persons who are outside the jurisdiction who could not get themselves registered, who have never registered since 2012. So these are the category of persons who would be using the window for the continuous registration exercise.
So let me ask you, so between now and next election, we have 2 days of continuous registration?
Yes, the reason being that if you register less than 60 days to the elections, you cannot vote. That is a law.
Okay.
So now what the commission and IPAC agreed today to do was that to give the opportunity for these persons on these 2 days for them to take advantage and get themselves re-registered so that they can vote come December 7th. Subsequently, we would put the continuous registration on hold so that we would kick the whole process come next year.
Bishop, you must be happy with that.
I would like to say good evening to your viewers. I think ordinarily we should all be happy when EC makes up its mind to listen to Ghanaians. Because the one thing that we need to understand is that elections are not done necessarily because of political parties, because somebody can just stand up without a political party and compete to become a president. So sometimes when you see the EC taking up a posture that seems to suggest that they are possibly pushing some of their...
if you raise your voice for me, I've just been sick.
If you get attitude from the EC that seems to suggest that they are possibly pushing some of their roles or responsibility to the political parties, especially when you hear that, okay, go and tell your members, go and tell people to go, and those are not necessarily the role of political party. But let's come back to this particular episode. You realize that this exercise, in terms of those individuals that were asked by the Supreme Court to have their name deleted and subsequently given another opportunity to get themselves re-registered and get onto the register. When the exercise ended last Thursday, before it even ended, a lot of political parties, including MPP, I remember I was with Chairman Blay in the Tema and other parts of Accra, touring some of the polling stations, and we made a categorical statement to the EC that, you know what, looking at the issues coming up, we ought to look at this and make extension for this whole process. We realized that Afanyo Markin from a Utu area there submitted a petition to the EC. There were other bodies, Kodio and other civil society organizations also spoke with their mind regarding the fact that there was the need for an extension. You know what some of the reason given? For instance, let's look at Utu, for instance. There was a classical example. It wasn't that people were not coming. When the time, there were people in the queue, and at certain stations, the EC had difficulty with the machines. Some of them, by the time they were closing, there were people still in the queue, and people said, no, it was time for them to close. So obviously, it was time for them to close. But yet, in terms of even our electoral laws, when it's even past the time of voting and there are people in the queue, you must, as a matter of necessity, allow such people to go through the process and have themselves get opportunity of voting. So in the same way, when it comes to registration, we need to give these people the opportunity to get themselves registered. But those people were not given the opportunity. There's another example too. You realize that there are a good number of Ghanaians who had never owned health insurance card. They do not have one at all. They never use health insurance card. I know somebody, the person had been living outside for some time now. He came back, he's never been around, he didn't know of any health insurance card. Now he goes to the place, the last time around that he voted was 2012 elections, and he traveled, and he came back. But when before he traveled, he used his passport in getting himself onto the register. He came back and he said, oh, you use health insurance, your name has been cancelled or deleted. He went to the polling station to check, they marked it as red or something. And the indication was that he used health insurance card. And his name was also found on the list published by the EC. And he asked himself, I do not even have a health insurance card. So how come I find myself on this? The classic example, and I know your station, Joy FM and other sister stations, even brought people with their own testimony, indicating to the effect that they don't have those cards, but the EC published their names. Those were some of the examples. There were others whose names were not found on the list published by the EC. However, when they got to the polling station, they realized that their names were not on the register, and it was an indication that their names had been deleted, or is supposed to be deleted because they had used health insurance card. So we realized that the whole situation was quite murky. You have EC telling us that they did a lot of publicization, educating the people and letting them know what they ought to do. But now you realize that you are looking at close to 60,000 names if you have to stick to the list submitted by the EC to the Supreme Court. We want to talk about others who use health insurance, however, their names were not even captured, but there are countless number of people who come around to tell you, you know what, I use health insurance card to do that, but my name was not on the EC's list. These people, their names were supposed to be published. You realize that within the period, Graphic could not even publish the entire 60,000, almost 60,000. They could not.
It's not true.
They could not.
It's not true.
And it's a fact.
It's not.
When I finish, you can make your submission. I'm sure when you are talking, I sat down, I looked, and I listened to you. Though I disagree with you on many of the things that you're talking about. But you let me make my submission. So the Graphic could not do that. And ask yourself, how many Ghanaians do buy Graphic? And when you buy Graphic, to go and scale to check whether your name is not there or is there. Along the line, we were told that there was a particular software that you could use in getting to that. The point is, it has been education. You need to get the people involved. Let people understand. Because see, whatever resources that is given to the EC, whatever resources that will be given to the National Commission for Civic Education, those resources are our taxes. They are not from the political parties. So you ought to certify the Ghanaian public. So when things come up and political parties or civil society organizations are raising issues, it's not that they are doing it for their own sake, but the fact that they want the Ghanaian to understand, carry the people along. You see, you asked a very important question when you was making the submission. When people spoke about the fact, we needed an extension. There was this, assuming, let me even use, assuming the EC was to be a human being. You realize that there was some level of headstrong attitude, some recalcitrant attitude that was adopted by the EC. They all of a sudden said, we are not going to extend it. They told us, and I heard your boss in a press conference say that they are not going to extend it. You see the posture? I was expecting the issues. You know what? We are listening to all these opinions, shares of opinions. We will sit and discuss these issues and see whether indeed there's a way forward. But if we finalize on that, we'll come back to the public. But the moment people started asking for issues, let's see how we can resolve this issue, all of a sudden the issue, you know what, we are not going to do it. It's this attitude of, it is, we saw it, we like it, we love it, we've chosen it, it's our own. You cannot run an institution of the state like that. So the issue is that we need to get the people involved. Now you came back with eating a humble pie. Now you are telling us, okay, we sat down again, you looked at that. When you continue to do this sort of thing, it affects the credibility of the EC.
Now enough of bashing the EC.
Oh no, not bashing. It's my mate actually back in the days from Lagos. So we're very good friends.
Okay, when we come back, I want us to find out, isn't it our attitude of last minute, where we just wait till the last minute before we all rush to go and change our names? And indeed, because of the court case scenario and everything, hasn't there been enough publicity on this case? But when I come back, we'll look at that, so don't move. Well, the most awaited and exciting Adom Praise, Airtel Adom Praise is here, and it's on this Friday. I'm sure by now you're trying to find out where you can get tickets. Well, apart from coming into Joy FM or the multimedia premises for your tickets, you can also go to Francophones and their branches at Kwame Nkrumah Circle, at Abraka opposite Roxy Cinema, Medina, Osu near Senate Hospital, Tema opposite Waterworks, Hacho opposite MTN office. And take this number down. It's 024 6422338 or 024 9373787 or 030 222 5651. Give them a call and you get one from there. You can also try Nalem Clothing Shops for the same Adom Praise tickets, and it's the Osu Mall, the Achimota Retail Center, the Accra Mall, the West Hills Mall, and Junction Mall. And if you want to get contact, if you're close by, it's 0540 123 805. So do not miss that. And for all you bankers out there, this is your moment. The Corporate Initiative Ghana will hold the 15th Ghana Banking Awards on Saturday, 27 August at the King Pesky Hotel, Accra, 6 p.m. prompt. The theme for this year's award is the 15 years of Ghana Banking Awards. It's called Enriching a Healthy Competitive Landscape in the Drive for Customer Relevance in Banking. The guest of honor and the keynote speaker for the occasion will be the Governor of Bank of Ghana, Dr. Nasiru himself, and they say come dine with them and dance, celebrate this unique event. Book your tickets now, so call Fauza on 020-0011-370. And the main sponsors for this year's award is the Vodafone Ghana. Media sponsors are Multimedia Group and Graphic Business. An event statistician, Ernest & Young. Dress code is strictly black tie or traditional. You cannot miss this event. Make it a date. But just before the break, I was just wondering that, you know, with all this saga going on with regards to publicity and not many people, is it a last minute attitude? Because as far as publicity is concerned, because of the landmark case where the Supreme Court went and said deleted, you know, there was a lot of media attention on this particular thing. So I think as far as publicity is concerned, whether NCCE went out or not, I mean, it was just, I mean, I must have done about 6 shows with lawyers and different lawyers and on just, you know, deleted and registered, and so there was enough.
No, see, when the judgment from the Supreme Court came, you realize that the EC itself pretended not to understand the whole thing. They gave the indication that they didn't understand that. So people did not really follow from the angle that it was going to happen now and now. Subsequently, when they went for Abu Ramadan and Evans Zimak went back to court for further classification, and the court gave his verdict on that, we realized that the court indication was that it ought to precede any other activity of the EC. It meant that it was something that ought to be done immediately. And so they started organizing themselves to do that. But you see, the issue is that when it comes to publicity, getting the people involved, carrying the people around, the issue is that sometimes we assume that almost everybody would have television. Sometimes we assume that within that short space of time, everybody is supposed to hear that. Sometimes we assume that by playing one advert on one program or the other, everybody is supposed to. You see, we ought to start adapting this attitude. Think that, you know what, it is our responsibility to get millions of Ghanaians to back our democracy. It is our responsibility as an institution.
Okay, let's move on to our last minute attitude, because you see, I went to 2 stations. One I can't remember. One was the one at Akosombo International. they were sat down on this mango tree, they had, about 3% of the people had come to check, and they were just. So I wondered, asked, how many people do you have there? I think they had about 360, but about 16 people had come to check, and they were just sat there, So I was wondering, with all this bashing, and now we won't go and check. So it's that. But I can only speak for just that.
You see, Nana, when it comes to checking your name, now I think we move from those who are supposed to do the registration to those who are just supposed to go and get their names verified. You realize that there's an aspect that has to do with attitudinal sort of thing.
So the 1 week it's just that we couldn't be bothered.
You see, if there was enough sensitization, and I tell you that
I'm talking about Akosombo International.
you cannot use one police station as a reflective over 29,000 police stations.
Let me bring Yusuf in here, because Yusuf will have a bigger picture.
Nana, before I speak on that issue, I need to make some corrections.
Okay.
One, Graphic Communications Group published the entire list of NHIS registrants that the Electoral Commission deleted from our system.
Okay.
That's over 60,000.
They published the entire list.
That's not true.
In addition to
We'll continue.
I am speaking on authority. We are on this show. They published the entire list. They did it on a regional basis to district base. So if they pick a region, they come to the district by district and they publish it. So they did that. The issue of persons who did it remains an allegation. We've told the general public that if you have a genuine reason, if you claim that you did not register with NHIS card and your name was deleted, the appropriate quarters that you have to go is the district office. Go there. Go and make your complaint. They will look into your complaint, and if the complaint that you are making is genuine, then it will be resolved. As I sit here, we never receive such complaints in our district offices. Yet they would come on radio, TV, and still speculate, make these allegations without proof. Because this allegation
what particular allegation are you talking
about persons that you claim did not register with the NHIS cards, and we removed their names.
Let me give you one.
No. Have you reported?
It is not about this is not an ordinary person. You know Mr. Stephen Tim. You know him. Former first vice chairman of MPP. He did not even have insurance card, but his name was captured in the EC's list of people who use health insurance card.
So what did he do?
He has to go back and go and do the re-registration. Because his name has been deleted.
No,
what is remains an allegation.
Yes.
And I'm giving you somebody who is not just an ordinary person.
As you speak right now.
I'm sure when you open the line, people will call in to give you that information. But you continue.
Richard, I am saying that the Electoral Commission has consistently said that if you feel that you did not use the NHIS card to register and your name is deleted, the appropriate quarters is to go to the district office. We would go back to our source document, make the necessary checks. If it is established that we did it by mistakenly, we would re-register you. But as I speak, we have not received even one complaint in our district offices. One incident happened in...
Could a complaint have gone to a district office but hasn't come to Accra?
We've asked all district officers to make sure that they compile such lists and submit it to the head office, so that we will look into those complaints, because all district officers have brought the source document, the Form 1As and Cs, to the head office in Accra. So if any person comes to make such a complaint, those persons list, we write their names, their ID numbers and telephone numbers. So we bring them to Accra and make sure that we go through the source document. If it is established that those persons did not actually use the NHIS card to register, then we would re-register them and restore them back to you.
That's a quick one. But is there a format of finding out which ID you came on the register with, or is it a matter of going through 14 million papers?
Yes, we actually went through the forms one by one. If you look at the form 1A, there's a portion where it is written national ID. So if Nana went to a registration center to register and you went with your passport, we wrote your passport number in that column. If you had gone there with an old ID card, we wrote the number of that ID card in that column. If you had gone with a national health insurance card, we wrote that number
so there's a
in
possibility
that
there's a possibility one may slip in or one may slip out.
But we are not this issue.
No, that is why we are not ruling. We are not
very inaccurate. You know why?
Richard. That is why the commission is not being dismissive.
Okay.
We are saying that there could be a possibility of us making mistakes. But if you genuinely think that we made a mistake, come forward and let us look into it. If it is found that we made that mistake, we would restore your name back into the register.
Okay. I wanted to just draw your attention to that. When you look at even the list they publish, I'm sure you can get to my Joe online and look at some of them. You realize that some of them bear car numbers, some of them passport numbers, some of them had no numbers, some of them are mobile phone numbers as an ID number. You see, there's a unique number for the health insurance cards, and it is known.
So 14 million. I mean, there's a margin.
And beyond that, when you look at the form 1A that we are talking about, that was supposed to be the source document that they possibly use in capturing the data of registrants who went to the polling center. You realize that there was no specific question as to which form of ID did you use. The question was national ID, and it's just written. They just write it over there. So in that particular scenario, when push came to the shove for them to provide the list, you realize there's some sort of shoddy work was done in providing the. When I mention my name, it's like you want to tell me something, unless you want to say something.
Go on.
I hope you're getting me. So you realize that when the lists were provided to the Supreme Court, people had issues. But because the idea is that we are supposed to be partners in this enterprise, assist the EC, because we are all citizens, we ought to assist state institutions to do their work right, so at least we can have ultimate satisfaction for the entire country. That should be the attitude of every political party, and that has been the attitude of the MPP. So that's when one issue comes up, we try to draw the attention to it. The difficulty is that almost often than not, right from the scratch, there's that dismissive attitude. For instance, this example that I cited about this new exercise that they have to go back and come back again. You have an exercise ended. You know that you have to go and sit down back
so that we can move forward a bit. But when we come back, I want to find out where the fairness thing, that's how this whole thing started. So when we come back, I want to hear a response. But quickly, with regards to patronage, how was it?
Are you talking about the exhibition exercise?
The exhibition exercise, because I can only speak to one station where I thought, it was pathetic that nobody was going to check.
As at the 14th day, we had well over close to 5.4 million people going to the exhibition centers to check and
out
go
of
to
14.
Yes, out of 14. Nana, some people are also relying on the short code because they cannot be physically present at the exhibition center. So that is outside the number of persons.
5 million went to check.
Yes,
physically.
about 5.4 million have gone.
And do you have a number of how many people use the short code?
We don't have the numbers yet. We don't have the numbers yet. But we still think that it is on the low side, because it is at this point that one would be able to know whether there is a mistake on the ID card or even the name has been omitted from the register. So the purpose of exhibition is to do corrections, is to do inclusions. Now you could be holding a valid ID card, but your name may not be in the register. So it is an opportunity for you to go back to the center to make sure that you file for inclusion and your name would be included.
We should take a quick break and then I'll come back to you. Don't move.
Good.
Well, thank you very much for staying, and we're looking at the extension of the registration and also the EC's electronic transmission. Because time is going, I think we have to move quickly to transmission, but let me remind you that the Habitat Fair 2016 is on and is organized by the SETI Realty and Ministry of Water, Resources, Works and Housing, and Multi TV. Now, visit the fair at the Accra International Conference Center from Friday 12th to Sunday 14th August 2016, 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. daily to receive your housing and household needs. The Multi-TV Habitat Fair 2016 is bringing together home financing company, real estate developers, home furnishing companies, landscaping, and many more. Attractions are free car washing from the beautiful ladies of Auto Centrum, mattress and carpet dry cleaning demonstration by dry and wet cleaning systems, and free playground for the kids during the fair by Fun for Kids Company Limited. The fair is being organized by SETI Realty, Energy Commission, Caspon Limited, JL Properties, Auto Centrum, Noble Realty, Heaven's Gate Estate, and Elegant Homes and General Construction. If you want to exhibit your fairs or have something you think, oh, this is going to wow the industry, write this number down. It's 0540 106 468 or 0540 123 799. Make it a date to be there from the 12th to the 14th of August, the Accra Conference Center. I'll catch up with some of your messages, then I'll come to studio. This is Nyame from Sunyani. MPP has prejudiced and made their mind that whatever EC does is wrong. They will never accept the result of the election if MPP do not win the coming election. It's not MPP who went to court to get NHIS deleted. At first, I was siding with them, but now I am tired. Okay, let's go to the next one. Please, how come all MPP communicators attack EC? They were behind the proposed electronic transmission of the results, but today they said they don't support it. They have been exposed. Their plans is bringing this dear nation down. Gilbert in Goso. Let me go here. The MPP representatives should be cautious if we, the listeners who are glued for clarity, than assuming an attempt of attacking the EC. Richard, today my listeners, my viewers are not happy with you. I don't know why this is being realized, but this is being realized by the media. Nana, please, the compilation of people who registered with the NHIS was not done at the Commission's headquarters, but at the various district offices. This is possible for officers to know the strongholds of parties. So anything is possible too. Emmanuel in Kumasi. Okay, let me take another one here. This one says, Nana, why is it that anything the EC do, the MPP complain? What's their problem at all? This is Eliasu in Wa. I'm just picking them at random. This one says, I'm Nicholas Nana, please. I want to tell the Electoral Commission to respect the views of Ghanaians at the appropriate time to avoid delays of the electoral process. God bless MPP for forcing the EC to do the right thing. Electoral Commission can never be trusted, Nana. Okay, let me just picking at random. This one says, EC in Tamale is rejecting the national service personnel posted there, and this is time they should be in need of them. One is to serve the nation. Two is a problem. Oh, for one to serve the nation, two is a problem in Ghana. Is it that they are being denied of their right, or what? Not a student anyway. You see, Because of time, let's just quickly.
You said you were coming back to me. And I think on the issues that we're discussing.
If we do that, then we're going to skip the electronic thing because we only got 4 minutes.
Just for 1 minute.
No, 30 seconds. Brief, 30 seconds.
Remember, we're talking about the issue of people who did not use the health card and others. There's one from Andrews, I think it's from Asunafo North.
But to be helpful. To be fair,
I'm not. No. There's a problem, and I'll let him address it later on with him. When you look at the details that he sent, you realize he sent his old ID card, and he sent what he used in voting in 2012, the ID card too, and he sent a picture of his health insurance card, and he sent the card that he's going to do now because his name was deleted. Then what his problem is that when you look at the list of the EC,
the card was after the.
There's two things. The first one is that his national health insurance card number provided on the EC list is even wrong in the first place, because he did not even use health insurance card to register. He used his old.
But what's the proof that he didn't have an old one?
No,
how do we prove that he hasn't got an old one?
That's the old one. That one has been changed. Are you saying that? Yeah, but they don't change those numbers like that for the sake of data. They sustain these numbers. The next one is that the current one that he's going to do, which that's where I want my brother to possibly help him later on. When he's taking a picture of it and sent to me, maybe that one, to the difficulty is that he came out without his name on the voter's ID card. So I'm sure that he has to go and get it resolved. But I'm sure I'll talk to him after the show so that he can get in touch with him, because he sent pictures of it. So we need to help these people out there. So if you go and do card and you realize that your name is not on it.
For the sake of TV and other people listening to us, I would say that we would exhibit those who have gone to re-register because their names were expunged from the register because they used the NHIS card to register in 2012. So he can take this to the exhibition center and make them do the corrections.
The electronic transmission, what is this? It's quick education.
It's simple. You know, we in law, we still have the manual collation that we do from the polling station. The results is announced at the polling station. It is then brought to the collation center, that is the constituency collation center. The results are collated from the various polling stations. Then it is declared in terms of parliamentary, then presidential. It is entered in a summary sheet for the candidates. Then that one is faxed to the region. Then it is then faxed to the old strong room concept.
Time is up now, so land it for me.
So now, in order to be transparent and accountable to our stakeholders and Ghanaians, we want to add. We want to bring the declaration of results sheet from the polling station to the constituency level. We'll scan it. We will add
the process. Do you have legal backing?
I have to go now. I have to go now. I want to try to get you back in so we discuss this electronic thing, get better clarification. But my director is sacking me from the screen. But the number you want is 024-366-2001. 024-366-2001. Tantis Fashion. They make my shirts for the show. Give them a call and get yourself a shirt. Thank you very much for watching. Tomorrow we'll be back to do this all over again. Thank you so much.